Hello everybody and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. As you can see, I got a new armor, a new robe. I guess you wouldn't say it was an armor. I was able to afford it even though it was 21 gold sovereigns because I had one of the special content armors that they give you at the very beginning of every save, which, is worth 14 sovereigns if you sell it, or 16, something along those lines. Because I wanted to get out of the pitiful roast and I wanted to use one of my mod ones. So usually this has a headdress and angel wings, but I wasn't a big fan of that. I thought they were too big, but they had an optional one to get rid of them. So we're probably going to be sticking with this for most of the playthrough unless I can afford one of the more expensive ones, but I'm not quite there yet. Today's going to be a shorter episode because we're just going to do a little party camp talking. It's my husband and I's anniversary this weekend, so I am going to be kind of stockpiling and doing shorter episodes if I can, but we'll just see. So I think we're going to talk to Alistair first.
What do you need?
He's kind of meh about me, surprisingly. Usually I'm the one who romances him, but since I've been paying so much attention to Zevran, we're kind of like meh together. So I'm going to ask you something.
Ask away.
What can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages.
Oh, I know that.
To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
Interesting. So Templars use magic themselves?
You could call it that, sure. The Chantry doesn't look on it the same way, however, since really our talents only work on mages. Against a regular person, I'm just a guy in a metal suit.
Interesting. So couldn't others learn these talents?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
That's horrible. I can't believe they would do that.
Well, they do it, and they feel perfectly justified. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that.
It's like a leash.
The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
I'm sorry, Alistair. That's not the greatest thing to be a part of.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
So, tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Okay. Where are the nearest Grey Wardens from here, anyways?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
So what happens now if there's just two of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
What would happen if we just left?
Just left? You mean just left Ferelden? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere.
I didn't say that, but I have no more questions for now.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
More questions.
Ask away.
How'd you become a Great Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
Ha ha, very funny.
I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
You don't seem like the religious sort.
You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought he was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Yeah, it seems like they really wanted to keep you from spreading all their secrets. So, you think this is better than being a Templar, then?
Oh, I suppose the Chantry life is good enough for some. Here, we have the chance to fight against the Blight. To actually do some good instead of sitting in a temple somewhere.
Right.
I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
Oh, he was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Oh, poor Alistair. Alistair, if you don't know his backstory, he didn't know who his father was, so Duncan was really the only one who could be like a father figure to him. So it really hit him hard when he died. We didn't really get a chance to talk to Duncan like we do in some of the other origins, but he was nice from what we saw as a character. So let's talk to Liliana next.
I must say that traveling with you has opened my eyes to how wrong some are about the Dalish. You are not at all savage, and I've not seen you snatch away women and children without provocation.
That's funny. Oh my goodness, you really think that we're all savage and we just snatch children away? Oh my goodness. Why do people think that? Oh my goodness. So, I wanted to talk to you about stuff, but my people are often misunderstood. We're kind of used to it.
If my people were more open to interacting with yours, we could do away with such misperceptions.
I guess so. The last time that happened, it didn't end well.
I know humans and elves do not share a happy history, but peace must be possible. I hear many city folk talk about how wonderful it must be to live simpler lives, close to the earth. They could learn from the Dalish.
We do live quite close to the earth.
How marvelous that must be. I have met very few elves, and those that I have met were pledged to the service of Orlesian nobles.
It sounds terrible.
Elven servants are well compensated for their services. Some of them live richer lives than humans. A well-trained elven servant is highly valued in Orlais. They are nimble and dexterous, and many people find them pleasing to look at.
So should I offer myself to some Orlesian noble?
No, I did not mean it that way. Oh, my words were clumsily chosen. I did not mean to offend. I am sorry.
Apology accepted. But I am elven. I am a person.
Thank you. You have given me a lot to think about.
Okay, but I wanted to talk to you about other stuff.
Have I ever told you I really like the way you wear your hair?
My hair? Okay. So, my hair? thank you.
It's very nice and it suits you. Simple. Not like the elaborate hairstyles we wore in Orlais. They involved flowers, ribbons, jewels. One year, feathers were all the rage, and Lady Elise decided she needed to outdo everyone else, and actually wore live songbirds in her voluminous hair.
Oh, goodness.
Chirping was quite charming for a while, but you must realize, terrified little birdies often have loose bowels.
Ugh. Oh my goodness. Poor birds.
Yes, I don't envy them. She never washed her hair.
Ew.
But I was trying to say something nice to you, wasn't I? Oh, forgive me. My mind wanders so. It's just that I feel so comfortable talking to you. Like I could say anything and you wouldn't judge me.
Well, we are friends, aren't we?
Yes, very much so. I haven't felt this close to anyone in a long time. I really enjoy your company.
You are a treasured friend, Liliana. I like Liliana.
Thank you. I am honored that you feel that way.
No. Because what approval do we have with her? Let's see. So, this is almost the very end. She's very warm. So she's getting... Let's see. Morrigan is very warm. Of course, Diana loves us. Zevran adores us. Wynn is warm. Alistair is neutral. Do we have any other... anyone? He's kind of meh about us right now still. And he's neutral. So nobody hates us, at least.
Something I can help with?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise.
Ew.
I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell. And the darkness drew me in.
Sorry if you heard little coughing noises. I took a drink of my tea and went down the wrong pipe. But, she was talking about her dream. What then?
When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything?
That's a good choice. The Chantry says the Maker has left us.
He's still here. I hear him in the wind and the waves. I feel him in the sunlight that warms my skin. I know what the Chantry says about the Maker, and what should I believe? What I feel in my heart, or what others
Why
tell
do
me?
they worship him if they believe that he's turned his back on them? They think he's going to change his mind, even though, according to their teachings, man betrayed him by opening the veil to get into the Golden City and then corrupted everything, and the Maker left. I mean, if they're in their teachings, it's like that. Why do they think he's going to forgive them? I don't know. But believe what feels right to you, Liliana. You can believe whatever you'd like.
Thank you. It's nice to find someone who agrees. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue.
Alright. We'll talk to her a little
Something I can
more.
help with?
Ask
Yes?
you.
What's on your mind?
Why? Let's see. What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
Well, You know, beautiful, charming woman like yourself.
And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no?
So, can we go back to Lothering now?
You would abandon your Grey Warden duties to
I'm just
seduce an
teasing.
initiate into forgetting Chantry and
I'm into
Maker.
men. I might. Depends on the initiate.
There are certainly many to choose from. I was never one of them, though. I was only affirmed. The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the Chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
And why were you seeking safe harbor?
The Chantry does not pride, and you should. I desired time apart from the world.
Hey,
I
we
was
were
a
talking.
traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they
It was brought
rewarded
up
me
in
with applause
conversation.
and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
So she was a minstrel, basically. It's not exactly what she was doing before, but we'll learn that more when we go into her story later on. So I think we'll talk to Win next. Alright, let's go and talk to Win.
Oh, it's been a long day. Rest would be welcome.
Are you alright?
Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken.
No, you're a person.
Ha, very funny. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time.
47
but there is
years.
always
So
something else
old.
to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done.
I'm sure you'll be kicking around for years yet.
Oh, I don't know. I really don't.
Well, it's just kind of sad.
Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower?
No, the ones in the towers are the first I've ever seen.
The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most.
Yeah. But it's this knowledge that drives you to be cautious. Exactly.
One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone. Replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say.
You have doubts?
Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured. Or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity.
If one retains one's humanity, one is not an abomination. That's true.
Yes, it is madness and cruelty that define abominations. If those are lacking, if the mage remembers the person they truly are, then they are
Foreshadowing.
not an abomination. I never saw that. Thank you for showing me another way of looking at it.
Yeah. This is true.
So, tell me, how did you become a Grey Warden?
I was tainted and only the joining could save me.
Then you became a Grey Warden out of necessity. But Duncan must also have seen something special in you. The Order does not take in recruits just to save their life. You must be proud to be able to represent your tribe and the Dalish as a Grey Warden.
I just hope that I can show the strength Duncan saw in me.
Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to. That it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be.
Yeah, I guess so. So,
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you?
it means I've been chosen to do something important.
There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey
Funny,
Warden is
they make
about
her seem like
serving
this old
others,
woman.
about
She's only
serving all
47.
people, whether elves or dwarves.
Usually
or
her
men.
regular appearance is very wrinkled and gray hair. I'm like, my mother is 52 years old, and she has all her hair still brown, and she doesn't have hardly any wrinkles. She doesn't look like an old, withered old lady. They made Wynn look like she was in her 70s, when she's just in her late 40s. You mean to say I serve as a protector?
As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they.
I suppose that makes sense.
A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant.
Huh. So, in a way, having power confines you.
If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power,
They do make her
influence,
kind of
and
preachy.
strength,
Kind of like
your
Liliana.
every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still
But they have
pond.
good
The
intentions.
drop
I
causes
like them.
ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome.
Alright, and just one more
You're
conversation.
quite taken with each other, aren't you?
Oh. She's asking me about me and Severin. Okay. We're really gonna go into my love life about this? Okay. I think he's asking me. Hold on, I'm just trying to find that little section. You know about Severin and me? But yes, quite.
I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. It seems he only ever has one thing on his mind. I question the wisdom of a Grey Warden being involved in such an affair.
Wow. Okay. We're just taking it one day at a time.
You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires.
I know that. But seriously, everything is not all about responsibility all the time. I can have a relationship with someone and it not impede my ability to make decisions and get stuff done. So I can handle my responsibilities and my relationships.
Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else.
Not exactly.
A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do?
You're making things sound more dire than they are.
Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this.
Okay. Zevran and I can handle whatever comes our way.
If you insist, I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
Goodness. Does she approve of that? Well, she is warm with me. Okay, is there anyone else that I want to talk to? There's Sten. because that's all we have right now. I guess we could talk to Diana.
Oh, why, you little...
What?
Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
Oh, poor baby. Well, he's a war dog.
Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
Alright, well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. It was just a short little getting to know our party members. Oh, I guess we didn't talk to Morrigan. Okay, we'll do one last little conversation with Morrigan, and then we'll get going. Hi.
I await your command.
Ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
That does sound something like you do, though.
Oh? I truly doubt that children would be worth the effort. They are filthy, smelly things full of tears and snot and trouble. That said, I cannot speak for the tastes of my mother. She has, after all, lived a very lengthy time in the wilds and done many things I know nothing of. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
There have been Dalish keepers who use similar magic.
Oh? Then I have no doubt your people do much to keep their talents well hidden from humans. I wonder if I was to ask one of your keepers of the origin of their magics, if there would be any relation to what I was taught.
That would be intriguing, wouldn't it?
I may even ask my mother about it someday, though I doubt she would tell the truth of it even so, such is her way.
Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But
That's
my
cool.
life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
Interesting. What do other animals think of you when you're changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
So, can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell, and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
Okay. I think your abilities are quite useful.
A most practical opinion. Far more so than any man I have spoken to. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
Alright. And she has very warm. Nice. So we're well on our way to becoming nice friends, and we're actually taking the time to get to know everybody. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed our little small party camp episode. You honestly could skip this, but some people like learning stuff about their party members. I was going to say family members. But in the next episode, we, according to the votes of the Musquemer, we are going to head up to the Frostback Mountains because we are going to go and deal with the dwarves, go down into the deep roads, and everybody doesn't want me to use the mod that skips slogging through the deep roads part, so we'll be going through all that. So thank you guys so much for watching. In the next episode, we will head to the dwarves. Bye, everybody.